This podcast is brought to you by Emote Projects Limited. The podcast is for educational purposes only. Seek professional advice to get specific help for your project. Enjoy this week's show.
Welcome to an architect and a DJ build a home podcast. I am the DJ.
And I'm the architect. Welcome to a very hot episode.
Oh, yes. As in, it's a hot day, not that the episode is, but it's a hot day.
It could be.
Could be both. The episode is hot and the day is hot.
It's a family show, so.
I hadn't even gone there. Yeah, let me just say that. My mind is pure.
Yes, pure one. It's extremely hot.
Yes.
Apart from that, how are you doing?
Apart from that, I'm good. Can't complain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What are we talking about today?
You're the one supposed to say what we're talking about.
It's not me. We're talking about quality today.
Yeah.
We're talking about quality, and this conversation, I guess, came from an article, a paper I was reading about housing in Lusaka.
Mm-hmm.
And the statistic that they put in this paper is that 7 out of 10 houses in Lusaka, built in Lusaka, are substandard. Like
That's a high number. That's
70%. Yeah. So for every 10 houses, 7 are poor quality. And in terms of poor quality, you're looking at things like the home is not safe to live in.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe there's something about the way it was built that makes it really dangerous for people to actually be there. You're talking about maybe building regulations are not followed. We see lots of examples. I think I've seen a picture before of somebody has built a house and then there's a sewer line.
There's plenty of those horror pictures and stories around.
Exactly. And you're thinking, how did that happen?
Yeah.
And then it bursts, and then so there are things like that. And
We
then
went to another example. We were at a certain place where the water people came through to read the meter, and they had to come
inside the property.
the building, not
Yes.
just inside the building, because the water meter was inside.
And do you remember that
And then the
cesspool line,
the pole
yes,
was also inside the building next to the water meter.
So how that happens, but it does happen. So yeah, we've got lots of problems.
That we do.
So we thought that this show would just be about, like when you're starting, how can you take the journey in a way that you get a quality result?
Okay.
Because there are things that you can consistently do throughout the journey that would help you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're looking at today.
What's the first thing that we're looking at then?
So I guess it's what quality is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what quality is, and like, I think one of the things when we think about quality is like thinking of what the house looks like on the outside, like visually, it looks nice, lovely finishes, and yeah, but I think there's a lot more to it. And the first would be whether this home actually responds to the way it is that you live. So, can your family live in it? Can you be comfortable in it? Does it support the way you exist as a family? So that would be the starting point, because if you're in a home, all the finishes look nice and everything, but you can't actually use it,
Then
or it doesn't really help the way you live, or maybe after you build it, you have to make adjustments because it doesn't suit how you would like to do life, then I think there's a quality issue there.
okay.
So it really starts from the very beginning of, how does it respond to the way it is that you live? Another aspect would be like there are minimum requirements to make sure that your building is safe. So things like your foundation has to be mixed a certain way. You've got to have a certain quantity of stones to cement in order to get the right.
So making sure you're doing it right, not
Yes.
cutting corners.
Yes,
because you
exactly.
want to save.
Exactly. Yeah, there's
No.
a minimum standard. There's a minimum standard for things like, what they call the lintel or the ring beam. There's a minimum standard of how the concrete has to be mixed for what it's supporting.
Okay.
And if those are not followed, then you don't get the quality thing.
There's an example that I think we've given before where those couple building a house, and then the husband was not too happy with a certain part of the house and how it was.
With how much he was spending on steel.
Yes. So he took it upon himself to make changes. This man, but let's just he had no training in construction, none whatsoever. But he said, no. Just said, I don't like the way that this is looking.
Yes, so then he says, no, I told them, move this steel. It's too much.
Would that be an example of...
That's madness, I think.
Yeah, not quality stuff.
No. Because especially if, and for that particular example, it's a double-story house. Yeah. So then, like you find that maybe the engineer, there are cases where the engineer over-designs.
Yes.
But most times they do know what they're doing. In fact, they're professionals. They know what they're doing. And that reinforcement is there so
For a reason.
Yes, it's there for a reason. So if your family everybody is on the first floor, you don't want a situation where the floor is going to just collapse because it can't carry the weight of the furniture, the people who are there. You've got a roof on top. So that's what the reinforcement is doing. Yeah,
so
that's what it's doing.
You can't go and make changes because I just don't like the way that it's looking.
Exactly.
I just want to rip that off.
Exactly. And then another area of quality is obviously like your finishes, what you choose, your workmanship. So things like, is the wall straight? There was, I don't know who made the comment of, like, when you see a straight wall in a Zambian home.
The guy
shock.
Yeah, who was talking about straight lines. He's like, they're just not straight. They're usually not, and you can see it. And it was
exactly. Yeah, so things like that, like workmanship. If it's supposed to be straight, is it straight? You have like things like wood, the finishes. There's a certain way that it needs to be applied, and you can tell, like, okay, this has been applied by somebody who knows what they're doing. So all of those things, like, that contributes to quality. So I think it's not just one thing; it's different aspects.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know if I'll be okay here to, because when we talk about quality, there are also misconceptions that come with that's around getting quality build.
Yeah.
There are a number of them. One of them being that quality is expensive.
Yeah.
Would that be true to say that if quality is expensive, and if you are to get quality, it's going to cost you?
Yes and no. So yes, you do have to pay to get a good like, if there's a good contractor and he knows what he's doing, and there are very few of them, chances are you'll pay to get that person to get it right for you because you've seen the result that person gives. Getting design, sometimes it's not the cheapest, and sometimes you're paying for things that you only get the benefit of much later. So in the short term, you'll feel like it's expensive, but like say for a home, if you've defined what your budget is early on, if you've defined like, okay, what are my limits? What can I manage? It's possible within that to find quality options. So even like with finishes are they cover a range. You've got budget finishes, you've got very high end finishes. And sometimes with the simplest treatment, you can get a good quality home. I don't necessarily have to have tiles. Maybe I'll choose to do terrazzo. Like if you remember, like at the Turner's home, they've done terrazzo on their floors and it's been finished nicely. It looks really nice. It's a good choice.
Oh, the tenants, by the way, being the couple that we had on.
Yes, that we had on in the last episode. So they chose to do that. They didn't have a budget to be able to buy to get built-in kitchen cupboards and whatnot. So they went the route of having concrete finished surfaces, which is slightly cheaper. They had a good person who was creating that for them, and it looks beautiful.
It looks beautiful. It does.
It looks beautiful. I think so. Like I said, like at the planning stage, when you've set out what your limits are, you can then take the steps of deciding like, okay, these are my limits. So what options do I have within it? Yeah. So my answer would be yes and no.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if your focus is on getting like a good quality finish, high end, you want artisans, you want people who are going to do good quality timber, then you can expect that your bill would be high because it costs to get those skilled people onto your property.
But it's
So
worth it.
it is. I mean, long term, I mean, you'll spend that money, but then you'll know that you're making a long-term investment. You don't want your home to be crumbling or looking,
After 3 months.
yeah, after 3 months, 1 year, and most of these homes are calling, oh, our forever home. And then it's after
Falling
2
apart.
years, you're like, I think it's time to move on.
It's always amazing how that people building decide to take shortcuts on their own. It's like this is for you, it's yours.
Yeah.
But you're treating it like it's
Yeah, but most of the times, I think, because the shock of the cost and the shock of what they
What's
find
coming
in the
in,
journey,
yeah.
and then you get tired, and then you're just like, okay, I want to be done. Yeah, but that's not the people who listen to our show.
absolutely no. Them?
The people who listen are like, yeah, we want generational wealth to be built.
Go.
Yes.
Right. Any other misconceptions you can think of?
I think that's one of the
Major ones.
The major ones, yeah. I guess it would be connected to how people look at professionals as well. Because going to an architect is expensive. Involving this, but the professional fees are a percentage of the entire cost.
Yeah.
But again, it's looked at like, is this big thing? Because it is a major investment that you're making. But if you look at the entire picture, then you find that, okay, it could actually be worth it.
Okay. So then what to do to get a quality building?
Okay. So to get a quality building, I think 3 things. The first is the planning part. And we talk about this all the time. I think that's really like the theme of a lot of our podcasts, a lot of the information.
We do.
Yeah, the planning, be clear on what you want, be clear on what your limits are, have a good idea of what it is that you want to do as you're getting into the journey. And then that will really help the next steps that you'll take and the decisions that you'll make concerning your home. And I promise you, like if you invest the time to get that part right, I promise you'll get a really good quality result. And it doesn't matter if you don't have a high-end budget, like you can't afford to build a home in Beverly Hills or something like that. You just want like, look.
Of all places, Beverly Hills.
No, because of the type of houses that you get there.
Beverly Hills.
because those are people's aspirational goals. Some people's aspirational goals, yeah. But you might not be able. That may not be your budget, but it's okay. It's okay. You can get a good quality home with a modest budget.
Yeah.
But it's really how are you making the decisions to make sure that you make the best of the money that you have.
All right.
So planning is number one. Number two, hire the right people.
And this is another point that we're always stressing.
Yeah.
I think we talk about it all the time. Get the right
Yeah.
people, qualified people.
Yeah, don't mess about with people. Tell yes, I'll do this for you. Yeah, and find out who you're dealing with. This is an investment. Whatever money that you're putting into this person, it's an investment. Your home matters to you. Your home is important. Make sure that the people that you're getting to build it for you, getting to help you to decide. Make sure that they're right for you and right for the home that you want. And then finally, once you've decided everything, once you know the team, just pay attention to what's going on. Yeah, like don't like now. Okay,
Walk away.
yeah. You want to make sure that whatever it is that you've planned, whatever design you have, whatever finishes you've agreed, whatever you've agreed on the costs, you take an active role in making sure that that's being done. Especially when it gets to the construction stage, be involved, be actively involved there. If there are things that don't line up with what it is that you thought, ask questions, challenge the team and things like that. Yeah, that will help make sure that when your team isn't on the same page as you, you're getting them back to that. Yes. So be active when the home is being built, to make sure that all the work you've done up to that point is actually being followed through. And I think when you do that, I think you'll get a good quality result.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. And with that, I think that's where we end today's episode.
Yeah.
But not without
telling us what you've been listening to.
I've been listening to.
Yep.
Okay. This week I've been listening to the Quality album.
The Quality album?
No, I mean, let me finish. I've been listening to.
I thought that was actually.
No, that's not the name of the album.
The Quality album.
The Quality album of BJ the Chicago Kid. That's what I was
BJ the Chicago Kid.
Yes.
Okay.
He actually has a new album out titled Gravy.
Gravy.
Yeah, Quality Gravy.
Okay.
Yeah, beef stew. Anyway, the album is titled Gravy. One of my favorite songs on the album is my song of the week. It features Robert Glasper.
Okay.
Not very long. It's about 2 minutes or so.
Yeah.
The song is titled Smoke Break.
Smoke Break.
Yeah. So BJ the Chicago Kid featuring Robert Glasper. Smoke Break.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's our recommendation for the week.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So we'll see you soon.
Yes. Thank you for your company. We'll talk to you next time.
An Architect and a DJ Build a Home podcast has been brought to you by Emote Projects Limited. The show is hosted by Kalenga, he's the DJ, and me, Mphangela, I'm the architect. Media by Monkey Business Agency. Music by Bless the Creative.